Welcome to the IDP Plus Start Sit show for week 2, which I always have to say very slowly so we don't get words mixed up. We're here to help you with your start sit dilemmas for both IDP and an offense. We will help you with both in order to help bring you victory for this week. I am your host, Ricky Rod Reed. You can find me at Ricky Rod 66. I'm joined by Shawn Teague. You can find Shawn at 8386. Like I always talked about Shawn, he's been playing IDP longer than my kids, have been born. And let's just say I'm about to be a grandfather for those that missed last week's show. So he's been playing a long time, folks. Um, we're going to start the show this week slightly different than we did last week. We're going to start off with the linebacker outs and questionables. Then we'll jump in a few questions, and we'll come back and hit the D line and DB outs and questionables. Then we'll get to some more questions and all, because I think it's important that everybody's aware of all the outs and all. I know a lot of people busy during the week, so we want to make sure you didn't miss anything. And starting at the linebacker position, we have Drake Greenlaw out again this week. Justin Sternard expected to once again step in his shoes, but at about a 70% playing time role. Blake Cashman pulled a hammy. I know we're all shocked for those that have been playing for IDP a long time that Blake Cashman is injured. Looked like he got shot in the leg when he was chasing the quarterback last week. He is out. Shawn, Eric Wilson is the one that stepped into the role. Some people probably wondering, Eric Wilson or Ivan Pace? Give him some guidance here.
Yeah, I think Eric Wilson's the way to go. He took the green dot right away, and they kept Ivan Pace in his spots. So I'm assuming Wilson's the guy you want. He's going to be the full time guy, and this could be partly because of Harrison Smith's unknown illness and what's been kind of holding him out. Maybe they need Josh Metellus up there, more traditional safety positioning, and also that may have a little bit to do with it, but Wilson's the guy to start.
Yeah, speaking of medalists, for those that missed our IDP start sit show, see, that's why I got to say it slowly.
Yeah, I'm fine
And
with saying it
actually,
slow.
I shouldn't have been referring to that. I should have been our IDP Plus advice show from this past that we taped on Tuesday night. We released very early Wednesday morning. Um, you would have heard us talking about the uses of Josh Metellus, and it was not very good compared to last year. He played a lot of deep safety. So Vikings was something to watch for. Shawn and I both very comfortable with Eric Wilson over Ivan Pace this week. Micah McFadden with the Giants also got put on IR after playing only 11 snaps. Darius Muasau was his backup when there was a second linebacker. He was the one played. But even when you combine McFadden and Muasau, came up to roughly 70% of the snaps in total for the whole game. So Muasau is probably someone we're not playing. Shawn?
Yeah, deep league target only, and that's like I say deep league. Anything beyond that, the snaps aren't there yet.
Yeah, and please hold your nose if you put him into the lineup. Okay, and TJ Edwards returns for the Bears. Of course, if you would have listened to us, you would have played Noah Sewell, and you would have been quite the beneficiary if you would have followed that lead. So, but Edwards is in, Sewell is out. Take him out of your lineups. But I'm not dropping Sewell just in case Edwards re-aggravates that injury as a side note, at least for a week. Landon Roberts is in for the Raiders, which probably is not very good news for Jermaine Pratt. Probably means even more usage on the edge for Pratt, which won't do him good. And lastly, Denzel Perryman is out for the Chargers. We expect Troy Dye once again to play in his place, but once again, probably only 75% snaps. So that is your linebacker outs and questionables right now at this point in time. We're going to go ahead and start jumping into some questions, and then we'll come back and talk about D-line and DBs. And Fantasy Breakout wins because he gets his questions in early. He gets the first question. Welcome again this week, Fantasy Breakout. How we're doing ahead of week 2. Before I go back to the question from last week, here's the format. 1 point per tackle, 2 points per sack, fumble recovery, and 4 for an interception. Thank you, Fantasy Breakout, for giving us the context on the scoring there. And I'm just trying to digest that real quick as I hit the next button, which says, with that being said, rank the following linebackers for this week. Henley, Ernest Jones, Servasia Dennis, a Bengals linebacker. I'm guessing that means he has both Logan Wilson and Demetrius Knight. Are Jamie and Sherwood after disappointing week one? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 we need to rank here, Shawn. And it looks like you're writing notes here as we're talking.
Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth over a bunch of stuff. Yeah, Sherwood was disappointing. I still like him. I think his matchup's good. I'm not ready to quit him just yet. Um,
Okay,
Henley's
so let's
solid.
let's start at
There's,
who do we have at the top of this list? Once again, 1 point for a
I,
tackle.
I
Yep,
think
go
it's
ahead.
still Sherwood for me. I'm still going Sherwood over these guys. Henley's my next guy. I might go Dennis then Jones.
Right. Oh wow, you're a little bit more aggressive in Dennis. I am
I
thrilled
am
with
a bit
Dennis, but I'd
aggressive.
like to see another week. So I've got Henley, Jones, and Sherwood as my first 3 right now. That's where I'm leaning. And then, so it's week 2. I don't want to panic over week 1, and so that also means that I probably want to go Logan Wilson 4, and then I will go Dennis 5 and Knight 6, because one of the things when I was doing a little bit digging into the Knight stats, a lot of his productivity came on the very first series of the game, and then there was a bit of a drop off. And
Yeah.
then he also didn't play 100, nearly 100% of the snaps. He came off in a lot of third down situations. So that puts Knight last for me out of this group. So the only difference, it sounds like you have Servasi Dennis a little bit higher, Shawn, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm still pretty high on him. But him and Jones are kind of neck and neck for me. Jones has a good matchup too. Yeah, yeah. Knight for sure is last on this list. I'm with you there.
Okay. All right. Let's hope that helps out Fantasy Breakout. Now, he's looking at DBs as well. He wasn't happy with the deep usage from Winfield. We absolutely agree with you. And that for those, once again, if you missed our IDP advice show on Wednesday morning, you missed some great info where we highlighted things such as Fantasy Breakout is calling out here, the very deep usage that Winfield had compared to what Tyke Smith, and how Tyke Smith, at least based on week 1, is well positioned for success this year, folks. And the question is, will he eventually bounce back? And please rank him with the following. And we'll use that same scoring system: Mooring, Derwin James, Alante Taylor, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Shamari Connor. Boy, Fantasy Breakout, you've got some embarrassment of riches, both linebacker and defensive back. Clearly, you've been listening to us. That's all I can say. Actually, and you're a really good fantasy player as well, of course. All right, Shawn, we're including Winfield in this list. Name your top 2. Let's start there.
Ooh, my top two are probably the last two based on usage and production. Fitzpatrick and Connor.
I'm surprised you don't have Derwin James there with his utilization where.
I've always been a little off on James. I don't know why.
Well, so we're going to be a little. Well, so then I'll give you my top 3, and then you can go from there. I've got. I'm going to go with Derwin James. There's too much box utilization. Gilman and Moden both were playing deep, even though Moden is out for this week. We'll talk about here in a little bit. But James and Fitzpatrick and Connor for me are the 3, and I'd probably put Connor over Fitzpatrick based on utilization last week. So that's my top 3. Give me your bottom 2 from this list. Don't forget about Winfield.
Bottom two is probably Winfield and Alante Taylor.
And Alante, the same for me. When I don't have any confidence that they're going to move Winfield closer to the line, particularly as well as Tyke Smith has apparently played in that game, in addition to getting the stats. Lante Taylor only played 55% of the snap, or was it 55 or 35? It was an extremely low number. And on top of that, if he wouldn't have gotten that sack very late in the game, then he would have had really poor scoring. And while I do expect Staley to play him in that star role a little bit more, I'd rather all these safeties over the cornerback, or the very, very deep safety. So Winfield and Taylor at the bottom. So that leaves us more basically in the middle at that point in time at number 4, unless I'm missing anybody else.
No, I think that pretty much covered it.
All right, Fantasy Breakout. Hope that helps you out. All right, we have Bird here. I can't remember if Bird's new. If you are, apologize if I'm forgetting. But welcome to this morning, Bird. And we're going to do our best to keep up the good work. Thank you very much. He has to sit one linebacker, And by the way, love it. So Fantasy Breakout and Bird are doing it right, giving us the scoring systems to help us assist in giving you the right information. So 1.5 per tackle, point, well, 3/4 of a point for an assist, 4.5 points for a sack. We got who? It's, another good list here: Schlesinger, Devin White, Nate Landman, Christian Roseboom, Logan Wilson. Which of these folks are you sitting, Mr. Shawn?
I'm leaning
You got a Mister
towards
there for the record, by the way. But
leaning towards sitting the rookie just based on how the Ravens did last week, and Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, they all didn't really do a whole lot tackle wise. So they're tough to tackle right now with the elusiveness of Jackson and the big plays that they can come up with. So the Ravens actually spend a lot of time on defense in that
yep,
one.
yep,
So that
you're
one
right.
that one has me
Buff-
more worried over all these guys.
Buffalo played an inordinate amount of low snaps. Inordinate is very hard to say very early on a Sunday morning without a lot of caffeine. But that is a tiebreaker for me in that as much as I really love Schlesinger, I'm comfortable with all the others, and I just worry about the playing time and how little Baltimore offense is going to be on the field for the Browns defense. And on top of that, we saw what the Browns did to the Bengals defense, just dinking and dunking and dinking and dunking, and the Bengals defense. So there's a couple of games last week that both point to the Browns potentially playing a low number of snaps on defense. So I'm with you there in terms of Schlesinger. As hard as that feels, Bird would be the one I'd leave out for this week. Now that's just for this week because of the matchups. All right, let's move on. Bird is also saying, I also have Jaden Hicks on my bench. Should I start him over Morig, Watts, or Hufanga? Um, you guys are the only IDP experts that provide analysis beyond how many tackles did they get. Well, thank you, Bird, for the kind words. And that's exactly why we're going to leave Jaden Hicks on the bench this week. Jaden Hicks only played about 60% of the snaps. Now, when he did play, he played a lot of box snaps, which was great. But we don't want to risk someone playing only 60% of the snaps. We really want a safety that's going to give us, 85, 80, at least 85% or not more, preferably 90% or more. And all these others, and all these other three are positioned for success, at least in my opinion. Shawn, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Until Hicks can get a full time role and be a full time starter like these other three, we can't start him. He's putting up some very efficient numbers, great for best ball, but man, without that full time gig, it's hard to trust.
Right. All right. Bird also said I could pick up Harrison Smith, but he's questionable and doesn't play until Sunday night. And Harrison Smith, I would not take the chance on, and I
No,
wouldn't replace any of those others as well. 36-year-old with an unknown illness that they're not talking about, that he may be back in a week or two, but we don't know anything more about. Is there a risk of a relapse? We just don't know what's going on with him. So I'd rather keep Jaden Hicks even on my bench for the
yeah,
potential upside rather than picking up Smith. Shawn, it sounds like you're agreeing with that.
yeah, I'm with you. And for this week, all things are leaning towards Harrison Smith being out. So
All righty, Tyreek. Welcome back, Tyreek. Good morning to you. Hope you're well, man. And he says, I've got to start one DB out of Connor Smith and Metellus. Also, Sherwood and Landman. Does that mean
probably start
he?
one DB and then start one linebacker is my guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So let's pick out of these. Shawn, I'll let you take the DB one first.
Oh boy, um, definitely not Metellus. I do think he's playing a little more out of position right now, so the tackles aren't quite there. So Connor and Smith both had really good week ones, and if I look at the matchups, I'm leaning towards Tyke Smith here. Just I could see that one being a little more pass happy. The Texans didn't really do much on the ground, and I don't know if they can. So if there's a lot more passes going on, short passes, whatever, I think Tyke Smith has a slight advantage this week over Jabari Connor.
They're both really, really close. I'm going to go with Tyke on this one over Chamari Connor. Um, they're both number ones in my opinion, and it's split hairs to a certain degree. But I'm going to lean with Tyke Smith. The other thing then is Sherwood versus Landman. Shawn, I think you're saying after week one, you're not giving up on Sherwood. You play him first, based on I think the earlier question. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's still one of my top linebackers this season and this week. I think he gets a bit of a bounce back here. Landman's got a tough matchup against the Titans, who aren't the best offensively. So if they're not on the field enough, we're not going to get enough snaps for Landman to get the tackles we want.
Yeah, that's the tiebreaker for me this week. We drafted Sherwood as a number one type linebacker for our teams. Maybe some people got lucky for some reason and got him as a number two, but most picked him as a number one. In week two, I'm going to roll with the stud Sherwood, and particularly when you throw in the matchup. Titans probably won't be on the field your average 63 and a half snaps for game for offense, which means the Rams defense won't be on the field for 63 and a half snaps. So right now, I'm going to roll with Sherwood as well. All right, so before we go into Sherwood, just want to quickly talk about some of the defensive linemen. Um, Leatu Latu is reported late last night, early this morning, that he is unlikely to play. It would have been nice if he didn't play last week because that interception caused me to lose a matchup. So, Latu, you
We're
suck
not
for doing
bitter.
that. Yeah, yeah, we don't hold grudges here. Andrew Van Ginkel is out, Shawn. So this isn't even a question. Well, AVG is out. How do you feel about playing Dallas Turner? Do you see him as an edge two, an edge three, or that's even being too aggressive for him this week with Andrew Van Ginkel out?
Yeah, potential wise, I mean, he could be an edge too, especially with the surrounding cast he has on that line. Uh, I'm starting if unless I just have a better option. I like the upside here. I'm taking that shot this week.
And he is playing. At least Van Ginkel has been playing a little bit more on the left defensive inside of the right tackle, which is where McGarry, the right tackle for the Falcons, is out for the year. His backup, Storm Norton, will come back later this year, but is also on IR, so they're on a third string right tackle as well. That could bode well, and I could see him flipping Turner and Grenard around. Both of them have a chance for a decent game. So, folks, if you're in a pickle for some reason, let's say Latu's out and Turner's out available for you, that could be an interesting one to take place. Also, a couple other outs. Ed Oliver, who had the great game against Baltimore last week, hurt his ankle in practice and is out this week. TJ Sanders, the rookie, is expected to get his snaps, but let's see how TJ Sanders does before we stick him into our lineup. Derek Harmon out again. Chase Young out again. Of course, in Young's case, Carl Granderson and Cam Jordan against the Arizona Cardinals had fantastic weeks. In the Saints matchup this week, oh my gosh, it slipped my mind who they're playing. And that's my favorite team. Oh my goodness gracious, this is horrible. Um, my Saints are playing the 49ers and Mac Jones. I can't believe that slipped my mind. But anyway, so do you think, Shawn, that we're going to see another good week from Chase Jones and Cam Jordan, who does have defensive tackle eligibility in some of the leagues? And I said Chase Young, I mean Carl Granderson, sorry.
Yeah, the tackle upside is the big key for Carl Granderson over a lot of these guys, and Cam Jordan hot out the gate. That was very unexpected. The old man looked good. Uh, Mac Jones is not as mobile as Brock Purdy, so yeah, I'm firing him up.
Firing them out. I think they're both interesting plays for people to take advantage of this week. And then moving to the defensive backs of interest, Nicky Monwari is out, and Devin Weatherspoon is doubtful for Seattle. It's rare that someone doubtful really ends up playing, and if he's doubtful and if he does play, chances are not a whole lot there, folks. So even if Witherspoon plays, I think we're staying away from him, Shawn, with that doubtful tag.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, without question. If he's not for sure playing now, I'm not trusting it going into the later games. Well,
And then
it's
Kyler
early game, but
Gordon. Oh, sorry, Kyler Gordon, Elijah Molden, Deron Bland, Christian Gonzalez, Travarius Ward, Storm Duck, all out. The Pittsburgh secondary. Deshaun Elliott out, Joey Porter out. You're thinking it's going to be Chuck Clark and Juan Thornhill as starting safeties and not Jabril Peppers, correct?
That has actually been confirmed by the coaches that Chuck Clark is the starting strong safety today. But they also are saying that Jabril Peppers will get a significant amount of snaps. So that I don't know where, if that's going to be more of a nickel usage, slot usage, or what there. So
Right.
something to
So
watch, actually.
I've been on the Jalen Ramsey bandwagon. And unfortunately, with Porter out, my fear is that we're going to see Ramsey on the outside, folks. And you see Peppers potentially because of his versatility playing a little bit more of that star role. And Brandon Echoes probably potentially being on the bench as opposed to playing a lot more snaps. So that's how Shawn and I are seeing the Steelers defensive backfield play out. If you've been following me and have been on the Ramsey bandwagon along with me, I'm pulling him out of my lineups this week. Like I picked up Dax Hill in one league where he had 9 tackles last week and the Bengals defense is on the field. I'm starting Dax Hill over Jalen Ramsey this week. So just a few more things I wanted to share with you as now we're going to jump back into some more questions here. Um, do, do, do. Fantasy sports. Good morning to you, sir. Which two safeties should I start? Newman, Tyke, or Winfield? Also, should I drop any for Craig Woodson or Xavier Watts? Shawn.
I'm starting Newman and Tyke. I'm a little more nervous about Newman than I have been in the past, but I do like him over Winfield still. As far as dropping anybody for Woodson or Watt, not yet. Not yet. But I'm close to cutting Winfield for Watt.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I want to see one more week, but while Newman only played about 50% of snaps close to the line of scrimmage, we were hoping for more. Um, we're going to roll with him and Tyke because Winfield played so many deep snaps and it showed up in his stats. And I'm with Shawn. I don't want to drop Winfield quite yet because of what he could be, but a second week in a row, if he ends up playing a lot of those deep snaps, which we'll obviously talk about in our IDP advice show that later this week, at that point in time, might be willing to drop him for Xavier Watson and or Woodson because we're going to watch Woodson and how he's deployed this week as well. And for those that missed the show, Craig Woodson, while his stats weren't as good as Hawkins, he actually had more closer to the line snaps than holy cow, my brain is just going crazy today.
Jalen Hawkins.
Then Jalen Hawkins, thank you very much. I could see the J, I just couldn't get the rest of the name out there. Oh, that sounded bad. I could see the J. I digress. But I didn't do that stuff, folks. But anyway, Hawkins had bigger plays that gave us points ahead of Woodson, but Woodson did play closer to the line of scrimmage. So that we'll be watching for that as well. All right. If Ricky can get his stuff together here. Harry, good morning, Harry. Hi to you as well, buddy. Which three linebackers to start? Landman, White, Dennis, Bernard, and I'm going to go with Jack Campbell on this one.
I will take White, Dennis, and I think I'll take Campbell over Bernard.
Yeah, so White and Campbell were my first two, and then it's Landman, Bernard, or Dennis for me. So Landman, we talked about him earlier in the Tennessee matchup, so that knocks it down a little bit. We drafted Terrell Bernard pretty high for a reason. The Jets are going to run the ball a lot, so I'm going to go with Bernard as my number 3. I want to see one more week out of Dennis when I have these other linebackers to choose from. So for me, Campbell, White, Bernard, Shawn, was that your 3 as well?
It was White, Dennis, and Campbell. I
Oh,
took
you went
Dennis over
White, Dennis,
Bernard.
and
Yeah,
Campbell.
I'm
Okay,
still big
so
on Dennis. I think it's there.
yeah, I I I do worry that it took him out for just a few snaps to talk to him, and they put in Deion Jones just briefly. That
Mm-hmm.
made me just a tidbit nervous, even though he played all the rest of the snaps. So, so there's your choice, Harry. Dennis does have the good upside. I like the Bernard matchup against the Jets. So good luck on that final coin here. And Harry has one more question for us. Do you think a good matchup for linebacker Campbell and any concern with Bernard matchup after last week's performance in a healthy Milano? I don't think the Milano health made a difference. I just think it was the Ravens offense and those big plays, and they just weren't on the field a lot, Shawn, on that latter part of the question.
Yeah, it's just the matchup with Lamar Jackson and them. It's hard to get the tackles with somebody like that who's that elusive and then just not on the field as much. So yeah, it's Milano's not a factor here for Bernard at all.
And he's asking, do we think the Bears are a good matchup for Jack Campbell today?
Yeah, I believe so. We pretty much both agreed on that on the last question. So yeah, we're looking for a big game for Campbell here, who did start 100% of the snaps.
And I still think that Ben Johnson is going to want to have the kind of running back utilization in Chicago that he did in Detroit, even if he doesn't have quite the same horses to do it. So until we see otherwise, I'm comfortable with this matchup. Skywalker, good morning, Skywalker. Good to have you as always. Chopper hold D Buckner for Josh Hines Allen. A tackles 5 points. Assist three. So we got some big scoring here. Sack 10, forced fumble recovery 7, and a pass defense 5.
Boy,
Josh Hines Allen is very inconsistent.
his win rates and stuff are very good. He just doesn't always hit home, and that's the big problem here. Where Buckner gives me a solid tackle floor to build off of. If he does get a sack, it's a bonus because he already gets me tackles. So with that in mind, I'm going with Buckner. No, I'm going to hold on to him.
I'm holding Buckner as well. I remember when I was doing some IDP Plus rankings for the site, someone complained that I had Josh Hines Allen down at right number 14 or 15 because the year before he had his double digit sacks during his contract year. And I
Right.
said, go back and look at his history. This was one of our users, customers. And I said, go back at all his numbers. So he had 1 year in his contract year. Let's see if he can repeat it. I'm not convinced. And I happen to be right as a side note. So, but anyway,
Humble brag.
uh, humble brag. But I am with you. I am sticking on the DeForest Buckner bandwagon. I'm not ready to drop him. And I know the stats were low for Buckner last week, and I know that might be why some people are concerned. But remember, the Dolphins game was an absolute freaking blowout. The starters didn't play nearly the number of snaps. You almost have to throw that game out of the window when looking at the Colts defense, because otherwise people would be dropping Zaire Franklin because he had 2 tackles and 2 assists in that game.
I would going forward looking at the Dolphins matchup until they can improve. We'll see how this week plays out, but if they continue to have another bad week on offense, I would be willing to bench most of my starters against them until they can get it together.
Exactly right. When you have a team meeting after week one, that's
That's
usually
not
not a
good
good
at all.
sign. It's a players only meeting.
That's
All
unheard of.
right. All right. Fantasy sports. He lost Brock Purdy, and he said, should I hold him or drop him in a 10-teamer? Also, who should I pick up? If these are your options, I have no problem dropping Birdie, is the first thing I'd say.
Yeah, unless yeah, if it's only 10 teams and these are on the bench, any of them.
Or
Depending.
yeah, they're probably on the waivers.
Oh yeah, waivers. I'm sorry. Yeah, any of them, I would Brock Purdy or drop Brock Purdy for. It's been on scoring. If you need the rushing upside, Justin Fields. If you're looking for more pass yards, Dak Prescott, and the other two are somewhere in between.
I think Prescott is absolutely going to light up the Giants this week.
I think so too.
I absolutely do. Penix against Minnesota, I'm not feeling quite as comfortable. Justin Fields against Buffalo. Lamar Jackson could have had a bunch of runs, had some interesting scrambles, but Fields is going to give you that floor. But so right now for me, it's Prescott and Fields as the top two on this
Yeah,
list. Not feeling great against with Knicks and the Colts. Part of it, Miami was bad, but there's part of me wondering how good that Colts defense really is with the new defensive coordinator and some of the talent. They have a
they
decent.
are banged up right now too. They've lost both starting corners. That second linebacker spot's a mess too.
That's for the Colts. That's a fair point. as well. But I'm still going to go Prescott or Fields, and I'm leaning
Yeah,
Prescott. Yep. All right. Good luck, fantasy sports. Hope we put you in the right direction. But in a 10-team league, there's always quarterbacks you can pick up. And while I still always like to have two, usually one solid and one upside, newer first year, second year quarterback in case they break out. But oftentimes in 10 teamers, I'm comfortable with running one quarterback because you can always grab someone off of waivers. Harry Brooks says, which tight end should I start? Strange, Jawan Johnson, Hunter Henry, or Fannin Jr.? Now, I hope you're not carrying all four of these folks on your roster, man. That's too many tight ends to have on your
they
roster.
need steep rosters.
Yeah,
That's,
maybe this is dynasty or something like that. But Harry, I would try and narrow this to two, just as a side note, and see if there's any upside running backs or wide receivers, maybe some higher drafted rookie wide receivers that are on waivers that could give you maybe more higher upside for down the road than some of these tight ends, and also save yourself the agony of having to pick through these four every week. Now, hopefully that helps from an overall perspective. Now, with that, Shawn kind of stalled a little bit as well to give you a chance to think through this. Which one of these are you leaning towards this week?
I really liked Fandon's usage, but it's Hunter Henry for me, and I like the matchup. And his connection with Drake May is my favorite between all these here with their quarterbacks. So that's going back to last year with how many times he actually targets Henry. It's a pattern here. So he's my favorite of this bunch.
So I had narrowed it down to Henry and Strange. Henry because they're playing the Dolphins. Henry because, to your point, May's favorite target. And Strange, lo and behold, the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who the Browns tight ends just ate up last week. And I think I just talked myself into Strange over Hunter Henry. And I did like Johnson's usage, but that's another one I'd want to see it one more week. And Fannin was a rookie, and was it against because of the Cincinnati matchup? So it's close for me, but I'm gonna go Strange over Henry. Most rankings I've seen up there had Henry over Strange. It was fairly close. Shawn likes Henry. That's our recommendation, Harry. You may have to flip a coin between those two, but you probably trust Shawn more. So run with Hunter Henry than if you trust Shawn more.
I really don't think you're going to pick a wrong one, to be honest, with
You
that
think the
many good
stats will be
options.
roughly the same at the end?
I do. I do.
Okay. All right, fantasy breakout. Sorry, fantasy breakout. Man, I need to have more caffeine before our next show next week. Half PPR in a 14-team league.
Oh,
All
boy.
right, so half PPR in a deeper league. Javante Williams, DeAndre Swift, or Dylan Sampson. Let's start there before we go into his flex.
I don't think I'm on the Javante Williams bandwagon here. I think that had a lot to do with the absence of one Jalen Carter uh, for his success last week. So between Swift and Sampson here, and I do like both. I just worry about one of these games being a little more out of hand, so the running back usage might be. Oh
Sampson is
boy,
last for me on this list.
are you?
Yes,
I was
I
leaning
the
putting him over Swift just
the
because of the scat back potential he had and the receptions being down late in the game.
Jerome Ford actually ran more routes than Sampson, which was interesting. And just that Sampson got 8 catches.
Right.
I just don't see that being repeated. That just eight catches from a running back in 1 week. That just feels like such an outlier. So I'm going to project that Sampson gets about 4 catches this
Three
week.
touchdowns.
No, 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 no. That's not going to happen.
Oh, oh.
We are talking the Browns offense.
Mhm.
So and Javante Williams, granted he got the 2 touchdowns. You take that out of his stats, and boy, the stat line looks ugly. So he was able to fall in from the one yard line twice. Just don't see that being repeated necessarily. I'm gonna go Swift in a revenge game for both him and Ben Johnson over against the Detroit Lions. Shawn.
Yeah, and the Lions did not look great at all. I'll go with you with Swift being the top choice here.
Okay, then that being said, then Williams, Sampson, Pearsall, or Hollywood Brown for his flex spot.
Um, Pearsall is very tempting, especially with all the injuries there. Mac Jones has to throw to somebody. Hollywood Brown had a lot of catches, a lot of targets, although not a whole lot of yardage to uh, balance that out. So, could be Pearsall.
I'm going to go Hollywood. Sorry, Fantasy Breakout, to do this to you. Uh, Worthy got changed to out yesterday. To me, this makes Brown the number one target. And while I know Philadelphia will probably make some adjustments, but at the same time, Philadelphia, whether he plays in the slot, DeGene did okay last week, but if they use him a little bit more on the outside, that number two cornerback position in Mitchell might not shadow Brown. I'm going to go with Brown on this one. And the other reason, too, is I want to see Mac Jones do something with Pearsall versus Mahomes and Hollywood Brown.
You talked me into it. I'm going to switch and go with Brown as well.
Okay. All right. So Hollywood Brown on that second one. Fantasy breakout. Ooh, another tough tight end question. Njoku or Strange? Now, we already said Fannin, well, at least I said, I'd want to see another week,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not playing Cincinnati's defense. We know that Flacco and Njoku had a great rapport when they played together in 2013. It's not like Njoku did nothing last week.
Right.
So, and then once again, we have Strange going up against that Cincinnati defense that the Browns just ate up. Njoku or Strange, Shawn?
It's a toss up for me. I'll I'll go Strange, but it's not by a lot. And honestly, I feel like these two are going to finish very close as well.
I am gonna go with Strange because I just love that matchup against Cincinnati. I really do. And Njoku against that Baltimore defense, whereas Cincinnati doesn't have nearly the defense that I think Baltimore will put so much pressure on Flacco. I think that's going to hurt as I'm thinking out loud, and so I'm going to roll with Strange over Njoku. All right, the OG is next, Shawn, and he needs two tackle heavy defensive linemen. Ooh, Young. I assume that's Byron Young for the Rams.
Yeah, it would have to be.
And I'm trying to make
Who
sure
I'm
there's no. There
I
don't. I could
well,
think of any
there's
others.
another Byron Young, and then there's Chase Young, and the other Byron Young is a defensive tackle for the Eagles. We're not starting him.
Right.
Chase Young is out, so
Yeah.
Byron Young against the Titans, give me that all day long. That's if he doesn't walk out with at least 2 sacks, it was a failure of a weekend. So
Yeah. So that's an easy one. We are with you on Byron Young. This is This is a breakout year for Byron Young with the verses and the Fisk and the Puna Fords and so forth, all occupying linemen. Yeah, Byron Young, let's roll with him. Okay, so then we have Zach Allen or Daniil Hunter. So Daniil Hunter against Tampa Bay on Monday night. Zach Allen against the Colts.
I'm leaning towards Zach Allen here because I do not believe that Colts offensive line is as good as it looked against Miami. It didn't look super great, but I think Zach Allen, along with Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, even the backup Jones Ellis had big weeks against Tennessee. I don't think it was just because it's Tennessee. I think that defensive line is for real. And I'm taking Zach Allen as my second.
Interesting. So Daniil Hunter with Worths out, the way they move their offensive tackles around, Gedeke is questionable as well. He might not play, so that both the starting Tampa Bay tackles might be out, and they move Graham Barton out there. He did okay, but you're still going to go with Allen.
I see Baker Mayfield is more elusive and smarter than Daniel Jones.
Well, it's better than Daniel Jones. Huh? Well, of course, in our show we didn't call him Danny Dimes last week. We called him Danny Dollars because he had such a good week one. If you would,
Against a terrible Dolphins team.
yeah, I guess a terrible Dolphins team. That is true. That is your favorite team.
Yeah.
So, boy, I tell you what, I want to lean Daniil Hunter, but because he's saying it's tackle heavy, to me that implies I got to go with Zach Allen, even though Allen basically only had the sack last week. But I'm gonna go with you, Young and Allen. But if I knew the scoring a little bit tighter, I might lean Hunter. depending on what the sack versus tackle scoring was. Okay, let's move to Rugaru real quick. Welcome, Rugaru. Glad to have you with us. Who dat, buddy? Go Tigers. I only had to throw my remote at the TV about 3 times last night because of the offense, not the defense, but we pulled out a victory. And look for the Saints to upset the 49ers today at home, as a side note. Just saying.
It could happen.
It could happen. All right. I do think the game will be closer than most people think. With Mac Jones at quarterback, the Saints defense is fairly good. The question is, can the offense do squat? Alrighty, OG needs two tackles needs two in a tackle heavy system. So it's the same tackle heavy scoring system it would appear. There's one easy one to drop out of this list. We can do that, right? I think we can agree on that one pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
Sanborn's out.
Sanborn is out. We agree. And then it's down to Schlesinger, Sherwood, and Eric Wilson. So you're confident, as we talked about earlier in this show, that Eric Wilson is going to get that 100% of the snaps that Cashman had.
Yep,
We talked
I
about
am.
the concerns on Schlesinger
Mm-hmm.
in the matchup. So, Shawn, who are the two you're going with?
It's Sherwood and Wilson for me.
Sherwood and Wilson for me as well, OG. Now, the answer might be different next week, but Sanborn's definitely out based on his 76% usage of coming out on third downs. Schlesinger, we didn't like the matchup as we talked about against Baltimore earlier. We don't think they'll be on the field very much for snaps. So there you go, OG, and good luck this week. All right, David needs to start 5 of these 9. Half a point for a tackle, 2 points for a sack. So um, fairly low scoring IDP system, which makes it harder to differentiate when it's a lower scoring system across players. So with that, we're really looking for someone who's going to be
High
heavy,
volume
high
and
volume with
possibly big play
high
here.
tackle capability. Yep. So Sanford can come out as we talked about. I'd still pull him out over the safeties, I think, Shawn.
Yeah. I'm not starting Sanborn. I do like Bond and Campbell for sure. So there's 2. Connor.
Yep. Those I'm with you on those 3 so far. I think with Diablo playing all but one snap last week, and he had decent stats. Minnesota is going to try and run the ball some to help out McCarthy because they
Yeah,
saw what it made, the difference that made as the game progressed last on Monday night. So I'm okay with Diablo. So I'm Bond, Diablo, Campbell, and Connor
I'm with you
as
there.
my first 4. So now let's talk about the 5th one. Medalist played a lot of deep safety, did feel good. Delpit played a lot in the box, but wasn't very productive. And he also talked about how easy it is to tackle Derrick Henry. I think someone's going to try and maul his butt more than once. There'll be
Yeah, somebody's
offensive
getting
linemen looking
ran over
for him.
today.
Yeah. So
I
who you got as
man,
your 5th one?
I want to say Siegel here over Watts.
Watts
That's
did
the
play a
2
little
I'm
bit more
down to.
deep safety. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable starting Siegel this week.
All right. I'm amazed, but we are aligned on all 5 of these out of the 9. So good luck to you, David. So, but recap, it'll be Bond, Diablo, Campbell, Siegel, and Connor. Those are the 5. Good luck to you, David. Good to have you. Hope you'll be here with us next week as well. All right, Ben is up, and Ben has a couple of questions for us. Choose 3 defensive linemen, and he's got 2. Let's see, 2 assisted tackle, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback for hit, 1 for sack. How many for a tackle? Does it say? Am I missing that, Shawn?
If it's 2 for an assist, I assume it's 3 or 4 for a regular
For a
tackle.
tackle. Yeah.
That's just a guess.
Yeah, we'll roll with that. So given that he's got to go with 3 defensive linemen, he's got Buckner, he's got Jones,
Chris Jones.
he's got Hayward, he's got Jalix Hunt, Jonathan Allen, and Mike Green. So Mike Green is probably the easy one to take out right off the bat.
Yes, and I'm probably taking Jalix Hunt out right now as well. So that leaves me Buckner for sure. Oh yeah, that's it then, right?
That's it. Buckner, Jones, and Allen are the three we would run with.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I wanted to give you a chance to reflect on that. Okay. Buckner. Oh, he just said Ben just said solo is 2 points. He realized it's on the next one right underneath it here. But I think even though it's two and not three or four, I still think we would go with that same list, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything there.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Eagles told us a lot when they signed Zadarius Smith right after the game, basically,
yeah,
that
right.
they weren't they weren't happy with their edges. Nolan Smith played more than Jalix Hunt did. I think the Smith signing hurts Hunt potentially a little bit more, so that's another strike against Jalix Hunt. Okay,
So officially, Devin Witherspoon is out. Teron Johnson is out. Trent Williams for the Niners is active.
Trent
So
Williams is active. Okay, I may have to change my 49ers Saints prediction based on that.
yeah, yep, there went all those sacks we predicted.
Yeah, exactly. Richie Mercado. I hope I said that correctly. Welcome, Richie. I believe you are a first timer, so we're thrilled to have you with us. Who would you start at tight end? Andrews, Loveland, Andar, Kincaid, and a half point. Oh, with a half point per reception bonus. Ooh, on
Loveland out
the
for me.
yeah. As much as I love Loveland, grabbed him in a dynasty league. I can't play him right now based on what we saw in Week 1 with only 2 targets and 2 catches. Kincaid did get the touchdown. Otherwise, he was 448. Andrews, if I remember correctly, was either one target or one catch. He was
Yeah, he did
hardly
not have a
used,
good game either.
and there was no likely as well.
Right.
Ah, boy. These are all at best tight end twos. Oh boy,
I'm leaning Kincaid.
I am. Loveland's definitely out, and
Yeah,
I'm torn between Andrews and Kincaid. What the chances of Kincaid getting a touchdown 2 weeks in a row? But at least he got 4 targets for Andrews.
that's that was my reason too. Was he did get the targets, which I know Baltimore wasn't on the field as much, but still, I feel like Andrews should have done more than that. I'm not ready to drop him. I just feel like Kincaid's the only one I can halfway trust out of this group.
Yeah, I think Richie, it's Kincaid right now, and this might be one after this week, depending on how it goes. I don't know if I'm stashing all these three on your bench if that's what you're doing, but I'm trying to figure out a way to upgrade a tight end or even reduce these numbers here and make your pick easier week over week, and maybe grab a high stash running back if there's like a, I don't know, a Trey Benson type or someone along those lines, Braylon Allen on your waiver wire. Okay, Andrea's back this week, and I said Andrea and Andrea last week, and I apologize. I wasn't sure the correct pronunciation, but glad to have you back this week. She does say in the next comment as well that this is a PPR, so this must be for a flex spot. James Conner against the Saints or Keenan Allen against the Raiders. And boy, you can certainly pick on that Raiders secondary, I believe, Shawn.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It.
Conner's matchup is pretty good. Most rankings would have him as a top 10, top 12 running back.
I think I'm leaning Connors just because I do think he's more likely to get a touchdown, even if Allen gets the catches and yardage. I don't know they'll lean towards him for the touchdowns here. Uh,
And
Connor
and I
gives me
did
more touchdown upside. I think
and I said Connor's playing the Saints. That was last week. It's the Panthers that he's
it's
playing, and the
Panthers. Yeah,
Panthers have the worst run defense in the league again this year. It would appear Travis Etienne ran all over him. Connor's better than Etienne probably. I've got to go with Connor on this one. Not that Keenan Allen's a bad matchup, but I think there's just a huge opportunity for Connor here this week against Carolina. All right, let's go to Jose. Welcome back again this week, Jose. Got someone wanting to trade for Saquon Barkley for Derrick Henry and Keenan Allen. Should I do it? Um, and the question I'd want to know is this dynasty or not? In dynasty, Shawn, I'm not doing this trade.
I'm Derrick Henry's on my team until he retires. I'm keeping
Well, he's got Saquon Barkley, and he's being offered Henry and Keenan Allen.
wanting to trade for Barkley. He has Henry and Allen, right?
But someone's wanting to trade for Saquon
Oh,
Barkley.
okay. He's got Barkley. Oh, okay.
He's got Barkley.
I'm not making the trade, even though I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan, just because the youth here for Dynasty, you're sticking with Barkley. And if it's
So
redraft, I'm probably pulling that trigger, actually.
yeah, exactly where I was going. Dynasty, I'm keeping Barkley. Redraft, I'm making the trade. I think we're aligned on that, Jose. Oh, he even said in the next sentence, "I have Barkley." Sometimes it would help if we read the whole thing. Sometimes,
Yeah, I seen that too, but I didn't know if you said it and I wasn't listening, so I wasn't going to call myself out.
Okay, so also, should I sit wide receiver Jamison Williams for Hollywood Brown or Cedric Tillman? The answer is yes. And then for me, do you agree with that, Sean?
I still believe in Jameson Williams, but I'm okay with you setting him this week.
Yeah, I want to see a little bit more from this Lions offense, man. I'll be honest with you.
You see a lot more from this Lions offense. It did not look
And
good.
Brown and Tillman, which one you picking? Both are
I'll,
excellent
ta-
choices.
I'll take Brown over Tillman.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brown over Tillman as well. I'd like to see a little bit more out of that Browns offense. Not that Tillman's a bad choice potentially, but my order for this week, I got to be honest with you, Jose, is Brown, Tillman, Williams. Might be very different next week, but for this week, that's my order. And then should I sit in Joku for Jawan Johnson?
I'm going to say no.
As much as I want to be Saints bias and all, I want to see Jawan Johnson for one more week as well. And so I'm going to go with Njoku and that Flacco Njoku connection. Even though their offense could struggle some, I still think he could do well in the PPR line. All right. CHB. Good morning, CHB. Which defensive special teams to start? The Colts or the Seahawks? So this is interesting.
I don't like either one.
Yeah. So we just talked about how Witherspoon's out. We talked earlier in when we thought he was doubtful. He's definitely out. Talked about Amon Wari being out as well. So that doesn't bode very well for the Seahawks secondary against the Steelers. Then
Colts
we have the
lost probably
Colts, who we have similar concerns
their best
about
edge
their
rushers probably
secondary.
out.
Yeah. So neither one is a great choice. So which one do you think has a worse offense that they're playing? Is it Denver that has the worst offense?
I think so. I think so. Just with the way they struggled against Tennessee, they did not look like a well-oiled machine. Whereas Pittsburgh came out and had to go point for point with the Jets.
I'd
Um,
I'd probably start the Colts defense, and I'd be holding my nose because I'm not a fan
yeah,
of either one of these two for this week, CHB. So
Seahawks are on the road all the way to the East Coast, also. So that's in the past
I,
that's proven a bit of an issue for teams coming from the West Coast.
I agree with you. All right, so I just noticed that, man, we've been having so much fun here, Sean, but we got about 6 minutes left. If you want to make sure you get your question answered, hit the super chat button. Otherwise, while we love kind of giving the details and the rationale, we're going to do our best to not do that and just answer the question. And apologies that you won't get the details of why, but you have to trust us on that. Okay, JJ is up. Welcome, JJ. Good morning. Pick one between DeJean, Lake, and Wingard as a third defensive back today. So this is our rapid fire round, Sean.
Wingard,
Wingard for me it is as well. Good luck, JJ. JTR. Pick one to start. Devontae Adams, Hollywood Brown, or Calvin Ridley.
Hollywood.
I'm going to go Adams and thinking Stafford is going to have a little bit more. I said we weren't going to analyze, but since we split it, that's why I'm going to analyze it. We talked about Brown earlier. I think Adams and Stafford week 2 are going to have a little bit of a better connection. And we are talking the Tennessee defense, which wasn't that bad though. So I wouldn't hate going with Hollywood. David has another question. Start one of these three: Pacheco, Downs, or Olamide Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus is the winner for me as well. Who would have thought that when we were in draft season?
Just like we all predicted.
Exactly right. Dale Cooper, he's got two questions standard league. Bench one, Keenan Allen, Diggs, or Travis Hunter. Who you benching?
Travis Hunter. A lot of catches,
Uh,
no yardage. Standard leagues aren't usually PPR.
thank you for reminding me. That's what was that threw me off on that one. Standard league, no PPR. Travis Hunter also. Cincinnati defense versus Jacksonville. The Giants defense versus Dallas. Which one are you going with? Neither.
Cincinnati scares me a lot. Yeah, these Cincinnati between these two.
Oh, really? You just because you think the Jacksonville offense is not that great compared to Dallas's offense?
Yeah.
Dale, I don't know if you have anything else on the waiver wire. I hate both of these, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I think the Jacksonville offense is worse, I'd probably go with Cincinnati, but that is not a ringing endorsement
Endorsement
for
there.
them.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back. And I wish I knew how to say his name, Perksakapi, but glad to have you back again this year, buddy. All right, should I stick to Greg Russo or replace him with Kuntz, Jeff Simmons, or Christian Ellis? Oh, I wish we knew if it was where Christian Ellis is defensive line eligible.
I'm pretty sure, or else he wouldn't be in this group. I think this is a sleeper question, and I'm taking Ellis.
Yeah, if it's a sleeper where Christian Ellis can play on the D line, yes, I would do Christian Ellis as well. He will get way more tackles than Russo or Kuntz. Who would be second, just in case that's not the case?
Simmons.
Simmons, I agree with you as well. Hello there, BJ. Glad to have you with us this week. JJ says Derek Brown, Jalen Carter, Isaiah McGuire as a third DL.
Derek Brown. Jalen Carter does a lot on the field, doesn't always translate to stats. Isaiah McGuire, I want to see it one more week.
Well, Derek Brown in his first game back didn't show us a whole lot. That's the only reason I'm hesitating. And it feels like Carter's going to be a madman trying to make up for his stupidity of last week. People don't spit on people as a side note. I'm going to go Carter over Brown just barely. Sorry, we're splitting on you, JJ. You heard a little bit of our rationale. Good luck on that, man. Sorry, we couldn't be unanimous on that. Un- Unanimous on that. Holy cow. Caffeine. Okay. Hey, Evan. Welcome back. Start one on the D line. Byron Young, Abdul Carter, or Grenard?
Ooh,
Carter's last.
Byron Young,
Yeah, we got to go with Byron Young here. Grenard's close second, though, for me.
for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Grenard outscored him, but I'm going to go with Byron Young and enjoy the game from there. Start three out of Singleton, Connor, Werner, Landman, and Roseboom. Connor. I'm drawing a blank.
Shamari Connor is the only one I can think
Amari
of.
Connor. Yes, thank you. I was thinking linebackers. So we can start three. Pick your first one.
Roseboom, Warner,
Okay,
Singleton.
I'm with you. Roseboom, Werner, and Singleton. I am aligned. Connor was the only one I was considering potentially
Yeah,
uh, next. Okay. BJ said hello earlier, and now he has his question. BJ says, offense question, need to start two wide receivers, Evans, Egbuka, Tyreek Hill. I have no problem starting two Bucks wide receivers.
I'm with you. Until the Dolphins can do something, they're doing nothing.
It is against the Houston offense, though. I mean,
I,
Houston defense.
I I don't care.
I don't care either. I
They're
just don't.
they're, they're a bit banged up, but
I don't want to play Tyreek Hill.
I don't want to play Tyreek Hill this week either.
Yeah, it almost became easier by process of elimination when Tyreek was the third option.
Yeah,
All right. Joe has a question for his IDP flex spot. Welcome, Joe the Lion. Grenard or Granderson? Ooh, this is a good one.
this is tough. One's got more tackle upside, I think. Um,
On my rankings, I had them side by side. Unfortunately, we don't have the scoring system here.
but man, give me Granderson.
Oh, I'm gonna split it on you. I'm going Grenard and against Atlanta. Um, that's sorry to split it on you, but it's gonna be it's a close one. It's gonna be a coin flip, and at the end of the day, they're gonna be very similar stats at the end of the day. Um, Greg Wiggins says Diaby or Reddick. So another Tampa Bay question. Which side of the fence are you going with? Diaby for tackles, Reddick for the sack,
I like that. Big
and then
play, go for Reddick.
yeah. So depending on your scoring system, Greg, that's the question. Let us know the scoring system next week. We can help you out maybe a little bit closer, but that's how we would split the baby on that one. Diaby for the tackles, Reddick for the sacks. Okay, 3P1C fail. I think I remember this one if we had him before. So welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Okay, so we need Granderson or Leonard Williams. First Leonard Williams question of the day.
Granderson for me.
I do like Granderson. I don't hate Leonard Williams, but I'm going Granderson as well. Picking two linebackers out of Bernard, Dodson, Servasia, and Levante. So boy, a lot of $2 questions all of a sudden.
Dodson for sure. And I think I'm riding the dentist train here.
Yeah, so this is one that we've been split on during the morning. We're both on Dodson. Shawn has liked Bernard a little bit more. Excuse me, Servasi a little bit more. I've liked Bernard a little bit more. Uh, B because of the run defense the running game of the Jets. Even though Bernard was down last week, Servasi had a great game. I don't think Houston's going to run the ball quite as much. That's the slight difference. And one other further question from 3P1. Picking two, Tyke, Jordan Battle, Jaquan Brisker. Who are your two, Shawn?
I like Tyke and Battle.
And Brisker did play a little bit more deep than I like. Now, Battle played deep a lot last week. I believe it
He
was over 70,
produces.
70%, but he produces. And so let's go with Tyke and Battle for this week. Rugaru. All right, our buddy Rugaru needs two. He got burned by Luvu. Um, And so, yes, you can drop him because of all the edge snap he plays, unless you're in a sack heavy system. But just know it's going to be like playing one of these big play receivers that'll get you, 20 points one week and then 2 points the next week. That's the same way you think about these big play wide receivers, like the old Deshaun Jackson stuff. Same way you got to think about Luvu. Cody Barton, the Devin White from LSU, Dallas Turner from Bama, and Divine Diablo. Which two are you picking for Rugaru?
Devin White's the easy one.
Yep.
I'm actually split on this. I'm
I'm
going to
gonna go.
lean slightly Barton.
I'm going to go Cody Barton as well. That's what I was about to say. I think the Rams get a lead. The Rams run the ball, helps Barton get to his typical 9 tackles, 6 of which are solo and 3 which were assist. Okay, moving on. Jardy. Oh, we're over. We're going to do a couple more real quick, and then we're going to have to shut her down. I just want to cheer your advice show. Thank you, Jardy, so much. Kudos for 2 hours and 45 minutes. After week one, it took me 2 running sessions to listen completely. You guys are both great health advisors. Greetings from Barcelona. Glad to have you here
Awesome.
again from Barcelona, Jardy. Glad you enjoyed the show, particularly with you being in Barcelona. Glad that it helps you out and so forth. All right, we got some spam that got into the box here. I'm just making sure if we missed anybody else. 7185, Trevin is asking Jawan Johnson or Mark Andrews. I'm
Taking
going Jawan
Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yep, we're aligned on that one, Trevin. Good luck this week and glad to have you. Brad Gilbert. Hey, Brad. He wants two out of Yala Tuliopo Latu's. Out, Latu is not expected to play, but if he does, I haven't had a chance to look yet. But
He's
if he
out.
does, I'm sorry,
I think he's out.
he's out. Phillips would be, I'm guessing Jalen Phillips, Sam Williams, Nolan Smith, and Tavius Robinson is my other guess on that one.
Yaya and Sam Williams.
Sam Williams, Yaya and Sam Williams for me as well. Not knowing the scoring system, that's the two I'm going to run with. Okay, then he goes Buckner or Haywood.
Buckner.
Buckner as well. And then two of Tariq Stevenson, Will Johnson, Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold did come off the injury list Will Johnson doesn't play a full complement of stats snaps, so I'm leading Stevenson and Arnold just because of the snap count alone.
I'm right there with you. I think Johnson's too much of a shutdown guy.
Okay, Andrew's asking Melifonwu or a Siegel.
Siegel. Uh, I could see Bella Fondu getting benched.
Yeah, he didn't play. He played 60 some percent of the snaps. Trader played 20 something. But then I just saw an article last night I was reading late that talked about how the coaches were very high on Trader. I wouldn't be surprised to see Trader getting more snaps than Melifano this week.
May as
I'm
well.
going Marcus. Yeah, Marcus Siegel. Kevin Hutchinson, one of our loyal listeners going back from last year, trying to decide between Blankenship and Woodson at DB. Woodson for me.
Yeah, I'm with
Blank.
you.
Blanket, and he said Cobb, but I think he means Reed Blankenship there, just to be on the safe side there. And Kuntz and Quinnen Williams at the D line. I in the tackle heavy and the way Quinnen Williams played last week. I'm going Williams on this one.
I am too. Kuntz is in a timeshare with Tyree Wilson, so he's only on the field about 50%. Williams
All
is on
right.
there pretty much all game.
Yep, and that could change, but that's how it was week one. So we're going to go with Quinnen
Sure.
Williams. Very good first week. Robert is asking, good morning to you as well, sir. He's got the scoring system here. I won't read it out. Granderson, Benito, or Daniil Hunter.
Or am I picking one or two? Just one.
I'm going to go with one, is my guess. Or if you want to rank order them. 3 points
From
for a tackle, 3 points for a sack here.
I'll rank them. Benito, Granderson, Hunter. I'm taking the big points with Benito.
I'm definitely Benito. I'm Benito, Granderson, Hunter for me as well. I will roll with you as well on that one. MK, welcome back, MK. Do we like Riley Moss or Cooper DeJean this week with Witherspoon being ruled out?
We like them both.
All right, so we have Denver playing the Colts. Danny Dollars from last week. Does he become Danny Pennies this week and throw an interception to Riley Moss?
I think Deshane's going to give you, or is going to be on the field more against
I
Kansas
think that
City.
I think they're both going to play nearly 100% of the snaps. To be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I just mean from a overall snaps,
Oh, okay. In terms of total team snaps, got it.
total team snaps. I think Deshane's the guy to go with on this one.
I like that call. That's a great distinction. I think the Eagles defense will be on the field more snaps. I think the Chiefs will play the more than the 63 and a half average snaps roughly. Gives DeJean more opportunities. So I'll follow your lead there. Plus he'll get the slot snaps as well. Okay, it's Selly. 14-man full PPR. So I have McBride as my tight end one, but we run a double flex and I have Hollywood Brown as one of my two best available options to play. Do I start Jawan Johnson at tight end or DeAndre Swift versus Detroit?
I think I'm on the DeAndre Swift revenge game here. I think he'll get enough checkdowns as well.
So is he saying to pick between Hollywood Brown, Jawan Johnson, and DeAndre Swift? And if so, so it's Swift over Johnson for you. Are you doing Swift
I,
over Brown as well?
no, I think Brown is for sure one of the two spots he needs, and then we're picking between Johnson and Swift. So
Okay,
I'm taking Swift over Johnson.
I'm going to go Swift over Johnson for this week as well, but it's closer than you would think.
Yes.
All right. Oh, we have so many more questions, and unfortunately, folks, we're not going to be able to get to all of these. We're already 10 minutes over our time here, so we're going to have to stop here. But hopefully, we'll do two things. Next week, we'll try to be a little bit less elaborate on our detailed questions. That's number one. Number two, get your questions in early. You can actually go to the channel itself. The start set advice for week 3 is already out there. You can start putting your questions in there to get to the head of the queue and all, but apologies. The other thing is if you use the super chat capability, I think you could do 99 cents or $1.99 or something like that, then we'll guarantee to answer your questions in the future, okay? Apologies that we couldn't get to everybody and we had so many great questions, but thank you all for joining us. Wishing you a great week 2 on behalf of Shawn Teague, who you can find as Shawn8386. I'm Ricky Rodri, who you can find at RickyRod66 and follow us there. Wishing you and your family a great, healthy, and happy and safe week. And look for our IDP Plus Advice Show coming out on Wednesday morning, and we'll be here for week 3 next week. Take care, everybody.